All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 296 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller, and over here we talk about Georgia Southern, Atlanta Falcons football. And I know at the time of this episode, when it wants us up, I know that the new schedules for Georgia Southern Sun Belt Conference will be released. Now, the fact that I do these a little bit pre-recorded prior to the actual, time that it's up, and quite frankly, I have a second job. I have my primary job where I work in the morning. I won't be able to talk about that schedule, but I will give you a little insight on the games that I know real quick. And we're going to talk about the Sun Belt games on the next episode. So 297, we're going to cover the Sun Belt games entirely, the conference schedule. But I will say, be on the lookout on my Twitter page, the Twitter handle VF Baller. I will be giving you my thoughts and opinion about the schedule over there, but we'll go in depth on episode 297. Now, before I get into what we're talking about here with Cordarrelle Patterson and the 4 games that I know about the Georgia Southern Eagles are already playing that are non-conference, I want to welcome you guys to the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Once again, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football and everything under that umbrella. Over here, we try to make things, as concise and complete as possible. And I thank everybody who has been watching and listening lately. For everybody who's here now, just go ahead and hit that like button. Share this video. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I also advise you to check out the podcast side of things if you're into the podcast side of stuff, where you can have the audio version of this podcast, and also be your own program director. You can have it automatically download once the podcast is up. Once I upload it, and it'll automatically download to your device, and you can just listen to it whenever you get ready. So that is just an awesome thing. Also, shout out to the individuals that are giving me 5-star ratings on the Apple iTunes side of things. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate it. Also, if you want to, last but not least, if you want to donate, you can click any of the links down in the description, and I will really, really appreciate it. If not, if you don't choose to, that's fine. Either way, it's totally optional. And the fact that you're here listening, that always, make it worth the while. The fact that you're here, I really appreciate it. Let's get into this stuff right here. Before I get into Cordarrelle Patterson, the 4 games that Georgia Southern do that I know that they play in September. They're playing against Morgan State. They're playing against Nebraska. They're going up to Nebraska and playing Nebraska in September 10th. Going to UAB on the 17th, which I'm going to try to make that game. I want to make that game and the game after that, the Ball State game. I'm going to travel to Birmingham and try to get to that game on the 17th. And the Ball State game, which is in Paulson the following weekend. Now, I'm going to have to move and shake some things around. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to talk to a couple of guys at my primary job and make some things happen on at least one of them days. I think I'm off on one of those Saturdays. I can't remember. But definitely, I'm trying to take both Saturdays off, and definitely going to try to represent and support our Georgia Southern Eagles. So once again, Morgan State, that's the home and season opener. Then we go up to Nebraska and play Nebraska, which, that may be a winnable game, to be honest. The Nebraska game is maybe a little bit more winnable than we think. The UAB game may be a little more tougher. We played them in Birmingham, and we're going to play them. I'm going to go to that game. And the Ball State game, which is back at Paulson. Ball State is coming to Statesboro on September 24th. So I don't know the rest of the schedule. If you want any of the information of the schedule, as of the time of this episode is up, it will probably be released, and you can find me on Twitter at VF Baller. The link is down in the description. I will have my thoughts and opinions about the schedule, and we'll go in depth of the schedule once we once we do episode 297. So that's how things are going to be going with that. So just be patient. It's just, these are a little pre-recorded. I don't do live episodes, which one day hopefully I will. But that's just the way things are going right now. Now, let's flip over to talk about what's on deck on the title of episode 296. keeping Cordarrelle Patterson in Atlanta. I mean, what else can you say about this? This is probably the biggest free agent acquisition of 2021. Now, I know that the Falcons did not have an overly successful season. I say it was successful based on the cards that the Falcons had. I mean, we didn't have a true number one receiver. A lot of things just didn't go our way. We were basically the best bad team. We were the best bad team of the NFL. But there's no doubt with Cordarrelle Patterson, with him coming into the fold, he made a huge difference for the Atlanta Falcons. And I don't see where there'll be a situation where that he is not re-signed with the Falcons. I think this is somewhat of a perfect storm for the Falcons, and I'm going to explain that in a little bit, how this is going to play out very well for the Falcons and why this should be a priority for the Falcons. And I don't see where it'd be no other way. First and foremost, Cordarrelle Patterson wants to be in Atlanta. I mean, he's not walking around with this sign, and it's not a Photoshop sign that you see on the screen for my YouTube and Rumble listeners. This is not just a sign where you can, they just put in Photoshop. He was carrying this in the beginning. I think it was the beginning or the ending of a game. I want to say it was the beginning of a game where he's actually carrying this, and he's been a very vocal person and very tweet vocal, or very active on Twitter, tweeting about him wanting to stay in Atlanta. There's been articles saying that Atlanta feels like home for him. He feels like he is at home and he wants to stay. There's been pictures of him talking about of him showing his locker in his locker room. He's been talking about how much he loves Arthur Blank and the way that Atlanta utilized him. I mean, how could you not love being here? Because his talents are off the charts. I've watched Cordarrelle Patterson even when he was at Tennessee, and also when he played for the Bears. I think he was with the Vikings at one point. I can't remember, but I know for sure when he was playing for the Bears, and he looked pretty good. He looked really good, but I did not see this coming. What he done in Atlanta was nothing short of phenomenal. Running the ball out the backfield, being a wide receiver, doing all kind of things on the field, helping the team out, and making sure that he puts himself in a position to help the team win. I mean, we just talked about this in episode 295 with all the guys in Georgia Southern moving around to help the team win. And this is what, this right here is what I'm talking about. This guy is showing what it takes to be a real football player, and it's really cool. I mean, I think he actually even threw the ball one time. He had a pass and, the Tampa Bay tried to kind of lit him up a little bit, but it's all good. I mean, that's a part of the sport, but luckily he's okay. He still wants to play some ball, and I hope the Falcons will be able to, pick him up and, keep him, and it's just really, really great to see that you got players that want to be here, because we have a situation where a couple players that basically don't want to be here. They found their way out of Atlanta, and with a guy like Cordarrelle Patterson, you would want to see other people follow his lead and just want to keep that culture and want players to be in Atlanta and want to have a winning culture, because speaking of winning, he's like one of the sole reasons why we won a handful of our games, especially the Saints game. I mean, that catch down the sideline was just amazing. I thought the game was over, and he caught that pass down the sideline and set up Younghoe Koo for the win against the Saints. So, it's just good times just to see just to see things like this take place when your best player, basically, it's almost debatable, him, Matt Ryan, or Grady Jarrett. But when you're looking at one of your best players that want to stay in Atlanta, it really keeps the rest of the team intact as far as, hey, we got a guy here that wants to, be something with this team, and maybe it'll inspire others to play it. Maybe inspire another player to actually say, you know what, I want to stay here too. I want to play with Cordarrelle Patterson and the rest of these gang with the gang. We see what they're trying to build here. We were like basically a few games away from actually having a winning season. A couple things go our way, and we're looking at a 9-8 season instead of a 7-10 season. So this is definitely one of the reasons why you want to keep a guy like this here. I mean, he can do a little bit of everything. He run the ball out the backfield. He's catching the football. And those are the type of things you would like to see. Now, also, when you look at Cordarrelle Patterson, the presence that he has on the field at 6'4", 230 pounds. And, I mean, that's one guy you really don't want to tackle. I don't care what part of the game it is, the second, quarter, the first quarter, the halftime. You don't even want, you don't want to, you know what I mean? You don't want to tackle him at any moment of the game. And he just seems like he can do a little bit of everything. He's just great to see. Very complimentary to the fact that, we lost Julio Jones and he comes in and be just as productive. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but Julio Jones, for one, even though he puts up the numbers, Cordarrelle Patterson got in the end zone and he was able to run the ball as well as catch the ball. He was a decoy for a lot of plays. And not only that, I think he was slightly a bit more productive, not necessarily in one of the better Julio Jones seasons, but as of the last couple of seasons, Cordarrelle Patterson definitely filled that void we was missing. And I feel like if we had a couple of other situations where the running game was actually on point, or we had another wide receiver that was actually, a little bit more productive than Russell Gage, and there's nothing against Russell. I thought he did a pretty good job. But if you had a legit number one out there, along with Cordarrelle Patterson and Kyle Pitts, Hayden Hurst, you got a recipe. You would have had a recipe for winning a lot more games. And that's something that we thought Calvin really could have been. But, that's a whole other situation I don't want to go down right now. I think that that whole situation is that whole situation right there is just it's just a topic that I just don't want to get into. I've talked about it plenty of times. At the end of the day, I just feel like they just need to trade him. Just leave that at that. But is what you see with a guy like Cordarrelle Patterson, once again, that we need a guy like this in Atlanta. A guy that wants to be here, a guy that wants to create a winning culture. He loves the city. He loves the area. He loves the coaching. He loves the owner. He loves the fans. Do you see what he do with the fans? Like a pregame requisite where he, passed the ball to the guys and to the kids in the stands, and and the kid ends up getting the football as a souvenir. And I remember one story I saw where one little girl was crying because she couldn't get a football, and it kind of broke her heart. You don't want to see kids like when my son, good God, when he wants something and he gets real emotional, I just melt because, even though at times, let's be honest, sometimes they shouldn't get it because of it, but they just don't need it, or they've been a little bit out of line for the day, but when they start getting emotional and start crying and give you those, those tears and that look. We all as parents know that look. To give it that look is like, we got to give it to them. And, Cordarrelle Patterson went out the way and was able to get a football for the little girl. And it was just an awesome experience. Like those are the type of things that not only, fans like me could relate to. Those are memories that, not only just young kids, or just that little girl will remember forever. Her brother was there too. Remember her parents. I think her mom was there. Those type of things that they remember. You basically created a Falcons fan for life right there. At least one, maybe two. And every time that these kids have this interaction with Cordarrelle Patterson, the tossing of the football every year or every game, you create a fan for life. They'll never want to turn it back on the Falcons, win, lose, or draw, because they feel like they have a connection with a player, especially with a player like this. Cordarrelle Patterson is just, he's very prominent with this team this year. He done such good things. He filled a void with a running game that just was not there. He was able to get things done as far as getting himself together to actually be productive in the running game. And it caused, problems for the defense, and he'll catch a screen pass, and then he'll go over the top and catch a pass over the middle or down the sideline. He's done so much. He helped Matt Ryan and Kyle Pitts in so many ways. All of them out of Zacchaeus and Russell Gage. He's been a big asset to them, because without him, and let's just say for the sake of, situation, if Calvin really went down and you didn't have a guy like Cordarrelle Patterson, I mean, we would have been in a much deeper situation, probably relying on Kyle Pitts so much where his rookie season wouldn't have been as effective as it was. You have to remember, Kyle Pitts had a 1,000-yard season as a rookie, went to the Pro Bowl. He got a touchdown in the Pro Bowl too, but that's cool. But I mean, the Pro Bowl, man, that's another topic I can tell you, man, they really need to do something about the Pro Bowl. But I will say, with him being on the field helped a lot. And I would love to see him back on the field. Get us a couple more receivers, get him back there, probably get another running back to help Mike Davis out. And just every now and then put Cordarrelle Patterson back there behind, in the backfield to have him run the ball as well. He's like a Swiss Army knife that that is a very effective one as well. You have a lot of Swiss Army knives out here and they just, they only do a couple of things well or whatever. It just seemed like Cordarrelle was just so well rounded in so many things that he done. You know what I mean? So it was a really beautiful thing to see because I don't think anybody saw this coming. I don't know what Arthur Smith saw. Maybe he saw something I didn't see, or obviously he did, or any of us didn't see because I knew Cordarrelle Patterson did focus on running out the backfield at other teams. He played running back a little bit. But the significant jump from previous years to this year was like phenomenal because it's not just about the money. I mean, it's not just about the stats. What really stood out is the effectiveness of him actually doing those type of things. That the times that they happen, the balance in the passing and the throwing game. The passing and the running game. That was just something that was really, really good to see when he was able to put it all together. I want to look at his stats real quick before we get out of here. This is something I want to look at. Let's see if we can pull these up real quick. For the Falcons, his total stats this year, he had 618 yards rushing, 4 yards to carry, 6 touchdowns. He on 153 attempts. He caught 52 passes for 548 yards for 5 touchdowns. So that's very balanced. I would like to see that. You really can't complain about any of these numbers. And for what I see, since he's been with the Vikings all the way up till now, all of these were career highs. 618 yards rushing was a career high, and the 548 yards receiving was a career high. So, why wouldn't you want this guy to stay on the team? Doesn't live too far. Well, he's from Rock Hill, South Carolina. I don't know if he still lives in the area or whatever the case may be, but I'm pretty sure something about this area that he wants to stay, whether it be the Atlanta or the Rock Hill area or anywhere in between. Anywhere around that is good money for him. 11 total touchdowns, also a career high, 6 touchdowns rushing, career high, catching, receiving touchdowns, 5 was a career high. How could you not want this guy to be on the team? I don't know. I think this is the number one priority for the Falcons in free agency. Go ahead and get him signed again. I can't think who else is a free. I think Russell Gage is a free agent. He's an unrestricted free agent. Or one of the two. Let me see. Before we get out of here once again, let's see who are the free agents for this year. Dante Fowler is gone now. Matt Gano, Cordarrelle Patterson. Where does it go? Here we go. Back to overthecap.com. Shout out to overthecap.com. Dante Fowler. He hasn't re-signed or something. That's kind of weird. Matt Gano, Cordarrelle Patterson, Hayden Hurst, Lee Smith, Eric Harris, Deron Harmon, AJ McCarron is a free agent. Isaiah Oliver. Oh, that sucks that he's a free agent. Man, he went down that knee injury when he was playing good. You got a couple of other guys down in here that are free agents. Young Wei Koo is a free agent. We need to find a way to sign him. Definitely sign him. So I think between Young Wei Koo and Cordarrelle Patterson, they may be the two priorities. So yeah, so with that being said, I mean, what are we looking at here? I think there's no reason that Cordarrelle Patterson cannot. I don't see there's a reason why he would walk away from the Falcons. He's just been too valuable for the team, this past season, and I'm pretty sure that he'll be able to do that again. And the thing about it is, from what I see, he only played 45% of the snaps. That is amazing. Interesting. He only played 45% of the snaps in 2021 and got that type of production. So imagine if he played, 80%. Imagine if he played, 70%. That's pretty interesting. I don't have anything else to add to that. I mean, let me know what you guys think. I mean, if you're in the comment section of YouTube or Rumble, let me know. Also, let me know what you think in the comment section. Well, I ain't say comment section, but let me know on Twitter. This will conclude the episode of the First and Frame Rate Show. I'm VF Baller. Once again, you can find me on YouTube or Rumble. You can listen on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, or Google. And if you like this content, hit the like button once again if you haven't already. Share this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys for all the support. You guys are amazing. I really, really mean it from the bottom of my heart. Without you guys, I wouldn't be doing what I do. And I do what I do because I love these two teams and I love the feedback you guys have been giving. If you want to give feedback, hit the 5-star rating on the iTunes app. On under First and Frame Rates, give me some feedback as well. Give me a little summary of what you think about this content. Also, if you want to donate to the show to help the show grow, you can go ahead and hit any of those links down at the bottom, and I really would appreciate it. Either way, if you guys are listening, that'd be awesome. Find me on YouTube or Rumble, Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, or Google, and I will see you guys on the next one. Wednesday, we will be talking about the Sun Belt Conference for Georgia Southern. We're going to talk about that schedule and see who we play and when we play and what does it mean. But also find me on Twitter as well. I'll be talking about it briefly over there because I'm pretty sure all the schedules are out now and this episode is pre-recorded. So we'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys for listening. You guys be blessed. All right, y'all. Peace.